Yo, what up, YouTube? It's your boy Shotgun Shogun, and we're gonna be talking about the developer notes, which came out yesterday at some point, but I was too busy playing Vampire Survivors the entire day to hit record on OBS and talk about the developer notes because, well, I was busy playing Vampire Survivor. Deal with it. So we're going to be talking about it today, and this is probably actually going to go up on Sunday, which, by the way, if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, because I stream on both YouTube and Twitch, and I'm actually getting a little bit weirded out because people be like, bro, you're back. I can't believe that you're back, man. I haven't seen you in like 7 million years. And I'm like, dude, I stream like all the time except when I'm sick. I stream. I'm here for you. We're here for developer notes. And I've already seen a lot of people complaining about the developer notes because people be like, this is just not enough. This just isn't enough stuff for the things that I want. Also, says Buff when. I'm pretty sure Says is the new DJ Basar. DJ Basar buffs when. People have stopped asking for haste buffs because they know that, I mean, we got a haste buff, right? And completely forgotten. Rip. F in the chat, F in the comment sections for haste ever being viable in PvP. But what do we get? Solitaria of the Snow. A lot of people have been complaining about Solitaria. Designer Lilibet, Chloe, Celine, regular Lilibet, Sinful Angelica, Inos, who most people probably don't even know, Lucy, who is good, where she's going to get a buff because she's coming back around for the Valentine's Day, and a Din. Now, artifact wise, we're getting Cradle of Life, Little Queen's Huge Crown, and Elle's Fist. Kind of interesting mix of artifacts here in terms of what they're changing, right? But a lot of people still complaining about Solitaria, said that it's not enough. People complaining about Designer Lilibet, says it's not enough, doesn't counter the meta. They wanted an ML Coeric level of change. And this, before we get into all of this is going to be the longest intro. Well, it's not the longest intro I've ever done. We're only at about a minute anyways. But something that has kind of been getting on my nerves a little bit about the Epic 7 community is the Epic 7 community. I mean, the fact that any time we get a balanced patch or a balanced character, because they are not cranked up to 12 like A Ravi was, or Violet was, or ML Coeric was, where they are instantly go from, you know, the 0 to hero, it is trash. It's just not good. Why isn't my favorite character the next A Ravi? Why isn't my character the next one that's gonna be meta because I plus 15'd it before it was cool, and then I can be like, bruh, I was using Fire 5 head before anybody even knew what she could do, which I was the one who came up with Fire 5 head. I'm going to copyright that. I'm going to start copy striking anybody who says Fire 5 head, by the way. Just throwing that out there. So if you don't want to get DMCA'd, don't ever call Fire Charlotte Fire 5 head. That's mine. I got that. But this is one of the big problems that I think a lot of people in terms of the community have, and I think that this is also cyclical back into Smilegate, where when a new character comes out, even though they're good and they're usable, people are like, oh, easy skip, sleep, snore, easiest bookmarks, skip some saves of my life, and then Smilegate goes, Oh, bro, they hate it. They hate it, and they're like, but the devs are like, or the people in charge are like, hold on, does global hate it, or does KR hate it? And then they go, well, global hates it. KR hasn't complained yet. They're like, oh, just global? F them. Now, once the KR side complains, then they're like, oh my God, hold on. Wait, hold on. How many out of the 7 people who still play on KR are mad? And they're like, bro, 5 people are mad that this unit is completely unusable. And they're like, oh my God, 5 out of 7 of the people that still play on the KR server are mad? We need a special live stream right now. Don't worry, assure them that whatever their demands are, they will be met. 5 out of 7. I can't believe that we could potentially lose that many people that still play on the KR server. So that leads to a lot to the power creep that we see in the game, because if it's not the shiniest new thing, it's trash. Literal garbage, until 3 months later when somebody just puts it in good gear and then stomps on people. But that aside, we're here for the developer notes, and we're 6.5 minutes in, and we haven't even talked about anything in the developer notes except for who's getting changed. So hold on to your pants, boys, because this one's going to be a long one. So Solitaria of the Snow, previously, pew pew pew. Not only that, can we just talk about how cute Solitaria of the Snow is? She might be the worst unit in the game. I don't even care. She's super hot, and she wants 5 babies. I will deliver. Attacks the enemy with magic with the 25% chance to stun for 1 turn. When used on the caster's turn, pew 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 becomes an attack that targets all enemies. The chance attack does not trigger a dual attack. Now, I don't really like what they did here with this, because it just makes it more gimmicky. They could have just slapped on cannot be countered. So attacks the enemy with a staff with a 75% chance to dispel 1 buff. When the caster is granted Daydream, activates Floosh Ha, which has as an extra attack. Floosh Ha attacks all enemies with mana with a 25% chance to stun for 1 turn. Okay, so here you go. Now it's an extra turn, which triggers ML Surmia, which triggers Rowana, which triggers other stuff. Now, sure, can the extra attack be countered? No, because it's an extra attack. It can't be countered. But they could have just made it uncounterable. When Floosh Ha is being used, cannot be countered. Seems pretty simple to me. Not sure why you had to make it an extra attack. Seems a little extra. Now, you do have a 75% chance to dispel 1 buff when the caster is granted Daydream, which we're going to be talking about Daydream as well. From there, still countered by Merc. People sad? True, because of the artifact. Feels sad, man. But what do they have against buffs, dude? Like, this game hates buffs. Everybody, bro, just get rid of that buff. The extra attack lets her eat AoE without eating a bajillion counters. True, but you know what else, Rifaru, would make that work? Can't be countered. Simple. The extra attack is just an extra gimmick. I think that, I don't know, I don't think it necessarily needed to be an extra attack. Could have just slapped the cannot be countered tag on it, like Landy, like, S10, any one of those things. Boom, easy fix. Now I want to go home. Decrease the amount of focus gained by the enemy by 100%. When the caster is buffed at the start of the turn, has a 100% chance to grant Daydream for 1 turn. Now, decrease the amount of focus gained by 100%. Still, Extra attack makes her great with F10's artifact, though. It would have been fine even without the extra attack, right? Does F10's artifact proc? Would it proc twice? It might proc twice. But still, are you going to, if you only have one, are you taking it off of Champ Zerato or Archdemon Mercedes to put it on Solitaria? Probably not. Most likely. But so it only procs on extra attacks. That's true. Got two. Oh man, I need another one. But decrease the amount of focus gained by the enemy. Now, here's one of the big problems with Solitaria, right? Who uses focus in today's day and age? I haven't seen an SSB in a while. Rylet? Yeah, sure. But chances are Rylet's on speed pen, and he doesn't even care about focus because he just killed your maid. Doesn't matter. You would probably bring this in against Rylet anyways, and they would probably ban it. Mill him. That's true. Violet, though? Okay, that's fair. You guys are bringing up some good chat with some actual good examples here. So two people, Violet and Millum. That's it. Now, if they would have changed it to prevent focus and fighting spirit, instant meta. Would have instantly become meta. Would have been used all the time. Would have hard stopped like A-Ravi's, Landies. Easy pick. The fact that it's just focus, Sag. At the start of the turn has a 100% chance to grant Daydream for one turn, and at the end of the turn has a 100% chance to grant Stealth for one turn. That's pretty sweet. That's it's pretty okay. Yeah, it's an okay change, right? Potentially theoretically permanent stealth. Boom Starlight. Now this is her S3 here. Decrease the enemy's buff durations by one turn and attacks with Starlight starting for one turn before decreasing combat readiness by 30%. The stealth went away from the S3 into the S2. Which is fine, but this now grants a barrier to the caster for 2 turns. Barrier strength increases proportional to the caster's max health. This does give her a little bit more survivability into like AoE stuff like that. And if you don't break the barrier, you don't break stealth. So that's pretty nice overall. Still a little bit of a weird decision here. I kind of get where they're going at with a little bit of this, but I just really don't see what they're kind of doing here. Riffer says also her extra attack with F10's artifact. What's her damage, Violet, without proccing his counters? Pretty solid. Yeah, I guess I can see that. I still think that in reality, I don't think anybody is going to be picking this to go against Violet. Hot take warning, does anybody remember playing Knights Chronicle PvP weekly bans? No, I didn't. She seems like a weird Ameru ML Tenebria hybrid. Yeah, a little bit. So let's see what their overall opinion on what they were trying to do with this was. Although Solitaria of the Snow was initially designed to be able to deliver attacks to all enemies with Pew 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 and Daydream, this was not actually the case due to her lack of ability to prevent counterattacks and maintain her stealth and Daydream effects. With these adjustments, but couldn't that be said against like Dizzy, Charlotte, Belian, anybody who AoE attacks? Anybody who AoE attacks? Oh, they can't prevent counterattacks. That's why you take counterattackers into them. That's the whole purpose of bringing counterattackers into somebody who can't do anything but AoE. But anyways, with these adjustments, After attacking with a single attack, Solitaria of the Snow's Pew 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 will deliver an additional attack to all enemies depending on Daydream. Also, I Want to Go Home will be adjusted so that the hero can more easily take the benefits of stealth and Daydream effects. With stealth now being granted by a passive skill, her S3 will grant a barrier instead, generating synergy with stealth. We do hope to see Solitaria of the Snow become more viable or more capable in various battles. I don't see it. I don't see what really she brings to the table that a lot of other characters don't bring into the table already. So we'll see. We'll see. Hey, Sama, thanks for the raid, dude. You guys are just in time for me to catch me talking about the balance. But welcome everybody. We're gonna be talking about designer Lilibet now. So like, here's the thing, right? With Solitaria, because she is that weird hybrid, I don't see where she fits, right? I think she'll be better than she is, and I already use her. Yeah, but you use weird off-meta stuff, Riffru. Like, I don't see where she would necessarily fit in the meta. Now, I will say she could potentially be like a good Guild Wars character, but in RTA, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. All right. Designer Lilibet. Everybody was super excited for Designer Lilibet when she came out. I was excited for Designer Lilibet when she came out. I want more of whatever Designer Lilibet's world is. I want the Kill la Kill, top model, designer, everything world. I want to know the story. I want to see top designer straws. That is what I want to see. It is. This is like one of the most interesting ML worlds, in my opinion. But emergency stitching. Previously, when an enemy ends a turn, gain 5 fighting spirit for each debuff inflicted on an ally. Starts the first battle with 50 fighting spirit when the caster's fighting spirit is at full, and is full at the end of somebody's turn, consumes all fighting spirit to dispel all debuffs from the caster, increase combat readiness by 40%. Now, when an enemy's turns ends, gains 10 fighting spirit for each debuff. This is going to be good for countering Ran. And when the caster's fighting spirit is full, consumes all fighting spirit, dispels all debuffs from the caster, and increases defense for 1 turn before increasing combat readiness by 40%. Now, I've already seen some people that are like, bruh, if this is garbage into Ran Caesarea, because Caesaria's already just gonna kill everybody, bro. And to that I say, just make your Lilibet faster than your average Caesarea. Caesarea is like 40% CR push, right? Off of the combo. I mean, as long as Lilibet goes, she'll be able to cleanse all the bombs off. And yeah, then you're good. And if she doesn't have immunity, you reset her stuff. Now, sure, can she soul burn? Yes, but doesn't that still mess up? Well, no, because the skill cooldown by 1, so she'll soul burn into her stuff, and then S3. I still think that she's gonna be fine. Now, is she ML Choeric level? No, but nobody's ML Choeric level. They buffed the absolute crap out of him and turned him to 12. I like what they're doing with her. I think that this increasing the defense is really good. Bombs blow up when duration is reduced. That's true, isn't it? Doesn't cleanse it, it just debuff durations it. So you screw yourself here. Okay, well, just ban Caesarea and then deal with whatever else, right? I mean, what else would they bring? You let Ran through, ban Caesarea. Your defense is increased, so you're a little bit more tanky. Your CR push is going to be faster. Ida, but you would cleanse yourself, push forward, get rid of any stuns. I don't know. We'll see how it works out. But I still think that this is good. The increase in fighting spirit, especially for enemy turns as well, is pretty solid. I definitely like it. And I do like the defense. It allows you to be a little bit more tanky to make sure that you get your turn right. I think that that's a big one, so that she doesn't just die. So you can build her a little bit faster, a little bit more cycly. Also, the other thing too, on the S3, it's going to keep doing the same stuff, right? But this also increases the combat readiness of all allies except for the caster by 15%. So you're going to be reducing their cooldowns. You're going to be increasing their cooldowns, and you're going to be CR pushing yourself. So yeah. It's also an attack buff for her S3, which hits hard already. Yeah, that's true. She'll be more reliable and a bit more stat friendly, which is all anyone wants. Yeah, but people are like, I've already seen people, they're like, bro, this isn't enough. It's not enough. It's garbage. It's trash. Literal dead unit. Literal actual garbage unit, because it's not over the top. And I think that this is a good change. I think that if we got more changes like this, but at a higher rate, where it's like, okay, let's just tweak it this way. Let's just tweak it just a little bit. Just tweak it just a little bit. And there was more over a long period of time. I think that would be a lot better for the game in general. Yeah, I think that this is a good change overall. Mine's +8. I'll actually probably build her, because I do like her as a unit. I think that she's always been kind of a fun aesthetic character. And I think that this is going to be a good change for her. But let's see what they had to say. Designer Lilibet will be adjusted to be more useful in more battle situations. First, she will gain more fighting spirit when fighting against enemies, inflicting debuffs on her allies. The effect of emergency stitching when the caster's fighting spirit is full, such as dispelling debuffs from the caster and increasing their combat readiness, will take effect at the end of the enemy's turn. The fighting spirit will also increase defense of the caster for 1 turn, generally increasing her survivability. Model disqualification increases combat readiness of Designer Lilibet's allies, making a favorable situation for them during battle. With these adjustments, Designer Lilibet will be more versatile when the team makes either offensive or defensive moves contributing towards victory. So I do think that she's solid. I think that this is a good change, and it'll be interesting to see just where she goes from here. Have you seen her S3 in high defense yet? Yeah, I've seen some pretty good high defensive Designer Lilibets. The other thing too is this would make for a good lifesteal build. Like, you can't really lock her down. The increased defense is huge, and the CR push that she gives herself is going to be really good. So yeah. Have I seen her S3 in high definition? No, I haven't yet. I haven't. So I think overall that this is a solid change. Chloe, who most people don't even remember exists. Some people use her for Wyvern 13. But Magic Nail is going to also increase damage, and it's going to increase combat readiness by 50%. So it'll be interesting to see what the one-shot teams are for Chloe moving forward, because it'll have increased damage dealt and 50% combat readiness. So somebody's going to be able to make like a one-shot like a really like regular one-shot team with her, which I'm super interested in seeing, because Hyper Strike is also going to be getting its damage dealt increased as well. And so if somebody can come up with a good like 100% one shot with her, the fact that she ignores effect resist on her magic nail is insanely good already. It means guaranteed if you have her on rage or anything like that, anybody on rage, and as for a matter of fact, like a watch or shuri, whatever, you're going to have a magic nail. Just no ifs, ands, or buts. Magic nail will be there. So this is going to be really, really good. Exclusive equipment is going to be changed to increase attack of the caster for 2 turns when using Magic Bolt. So not only that, but you don't have to worry about, if you're using her, you don't have to worry about an attack buff, right? Because she can give herself an attack buff. Although you're still probably going to want attack buff for like everybody else, right? So this is going to be mostly just geared towards Wyvern. Although it is kind of interesting for the 50% increased combat readiness, what people might be able to get away with like a fast PvP Chloe, right? Because your magic nail damage is going to be increased. The damage dealt when you do hit somebody with your S3 with magic nail is huge already, increasing hyper strike afterwards. It'll be interesting to see like if they can make, like if somebody can make like a loop team with like blue Chloe that just deletes somebody. So yeah, I think that this is interesting. Again, I'm interested. I want to see what she'll bring to the Wyvern 13 run, like one shot runs. I think that with Magic Nail ignoring effect resist, she could, depending on how much damage this does, she could easily be like the queen of Wyvern 13, upsetting Sigrid easily. But yeah, no, it even says here at the bottom, with these improvements, we hope to see Chloe have more contribution in PvE battles such as Wyvern Hunt by inflicting debuffs with her Magic Bolt, ignoring enemy effect resist. Yeah, 100%, for sure. But here is the buff that a lot of people have been pretty excited about. Although I have seen some people say that this is a direct nerf to Celine, which we also saw this with ML Ken and a whole bunch of other units, right, where they buff a unit and then people are like, bro, these buffs suck so bad, I'm so mad right now, you just nerfed my perfect unit and I don't even get a selector. This is garbage. This is trash. I hate this. And yeah. All right, so Celine, Intuition. Now, this is going to dispel all debuffs from the caster before attacking the enemy, and is going to increase combat readiness of the caster by 20% as well. So not only is she going to be attacking a random enemy or highest attack, depending on, you know, what EE you're using, but she's also going to push herself forward, which is going to be really big in getting herself into clapping that thunder with them cheeks. Repeatedly slashing the enemy before triggering an explosion increases evasion and grants barrier to the caster for 2 turns. This is going to be increased proportional to the caster's attack. This is going to be real big because evasion, barrier, Bruh. Let's go. Not only that, but again, dispels all debuffs from the caster before attacking. Done. Donezo. This means that, yeah, she's going to be able to give herself self-attack buff with the artifact, a bunch of other stuff. This is really strong, as a matter of fact. 44% CR push with her artifact as well. Yeah. So this is going to be really good. And like I said, yeah, okay, they're decreasing the amount of healing that you get from the S3, but you're going to be getting a thick barrier. Now, we don't know how thick the barrier is, right? But barrier based on her attacks. So, oh darn, your healing got cut down a little bit, but you have barrier, you have evasion, you did take some healing, you do get some healing from your S3. So you just consider the barrier as effective EHP, right? It's still good. Celine will be improved to be more specialized in fighting against enemies that use non-attack skills. The dispelling debuff effect will be shifted from Thunderclap to Intuition, and Blink will be less likely to be disturbed. Blink will also increase combat readiness of the caster, aiding to get another chance to quickly use Thunderclap once again. Thunderclap will help the caster survive longer by granting a barrier whose strength increases proportional to the caster's attack. However, as it grants both increased evasion and a barrier, the amount of health it recovers will be slightly reduced. Perfectly fine. I think your overall EHP is going to be going up exponentially compared to the healing that you would have gotten, because let's be real, if you're already at full health, any healing that you would have gotten is literally wasted, whereas a barrier, you're Gucci. It's gonna be there. All right, Lilibet, green Lilibet. So both Lilibets got upgraded this time around. But snip snip. Previously, this is brutally cuts the enemy with a 50% chance each to inflict 4 bleeding effects for 2 turns before increasing the caster's combat radius by 50%. Damage dealt increase when target isn't buffed. Okay, fine. Now, 55% chance to each inflict 3 bleeding, which I'm going to point out, they gave you a 5% more chance, but they took away one of the bleeding effects. First off, I hate bleed. It's like the most useless debuff in the game for, PvP. But they gave you 5% more chance. When the target is bleeding after the attack, though, increase the combat readiness of the caster by an additional 50%. So this is, in theory, a take an extra turn. So I understand why they would have reduced the amount of bleeding effects. Because, yeah. I think this is pretty okay. Mathematically less likely to land, yeah, because otherwise, I mean, if you've got 4, you're gonna be just taking extra turns, man. It's just gonna be may as well just be like, hey, just take an extra turn. I mean, I still think that this is gonna be, a pretty much a free extra turn, so you can snip into Soul Cutter, or however Soul Cutter. Snip will help you reduce your Soul Cutter. And then if you do extinct somebody, decrease the caster's skill cooldown by 1 turn. So this is going to be really big on cycling. Honestly, like, I can see her just hyper cycling, like real hard. It'll be interesting though. The problem is that you can't use S2 if they have immunity, obviously. So you're gonna have to bring somebody to strip. Her S3, it still does hit kind of hard, but I mean, nobody really uses her much for anything. I don't know that this is going to be the huge boon that it needs to be, right? This isn't gonna, I don't know that this is going to be what puts Lilibet back in the spotlight. However, this could be really good for Banshee. Lilibet already had a good spot in Banshee, right? I could just see this being really good for cycling through on damage for Banshee. However, I don't know, because you could do too much damage, right, with S2 into S3. I don't know. Maybe it won't be. Maybe it will be. Maybe you use Lucy to force it so it doesn't break. S2, S3 for some sort of one shot for, you know, anybody who doesn't have the 2-star mouse that you could just use to one shot it. But let's see what they have to say. Lilibet is a hero who, using her skill Soul Cutter, is capable of inflicting extinction to enemies with increased hit chance. Her skill Snip Snip will be adjusted so that her strategic strength can be more efficient. The conditions on damage increase will be removed, and it will increase combat readiness of the caster by an additional 50% when the target is bleeding after the attack. However, the hero to take the next turn, allowing the hero to take the next turn much earlier. However, as it will have a combat readiness increase effect and increased chance to inflict bleeding effects, the maximum number of bleeding effects it can inflict at the time will be decreased by 1. Soul Cutter will inflict extinction and decrease the caster's skill cooldown by 1 turn when the enemy is defeated, possibly raising Lilibet's contribution through the battle. Yeah, I definitely see that she'll be better in Guild Wars for sure. We'll see. They did change her exclusive equipment, dispel 2 debuffs from the caster before the skill. We're using Snip Snip, so this will be good to get rid of any debuffs on you. Not bad stuff. Not bad. Okay. Sinful Angelica. Very niche character, right? We'll see. But anyways, Dark Salvation now is going to dispel 1 debuff from all allies. This is good for anybody who, you know, put Unbuffable on. Easy. I mean, that's really all there is to this. This is really simple change, just to get rid of the debuff to make sure. Yeah, everybody is a cleanser. Soulburned Basar. Rip, right? This will get rid of anybody who brought in, you know, ignore effect resist. So you just dispel Unbuffable, and then you're good to go. And then you're solid. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Not really much there to go over. I think that, you know, it's, you put her on a doctor's bag, she strips 2 debuffs. Yeah, that's true. Although who I guess you could put, I guess Ran, because you would get rid of the stigma before defense break. That could get rid of 2 of them, because I mean, otherwise you just clear out the rest of her team, right? But yeah, against Rand Pierre, yeah. So Doctor's Bag, Angelica. Although, would anybody really draft that into Rand Pierre? I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. Anyways, Inos. Most people don't even know that this character exists. I really like this character. I think she's good. It'll be interesting to see if this does anything. I mean, there's all we're getting is like a reduced cooldown on her S3, so it's going to be 4 turns. They're moving the soul burn from the S3 to the S1 to increase the defense break to 100% for 2 turns. It's going to be 10 souls. Yeah, I think this was a weird one. I didn't hear anybody really like complaining about Inos. I don't know too many people that know what Inos does or uses her. I really like her. I use her quite a bit in PvE, stuff like that. I'd really like to use her in PvP, but base 3-star stats. Can we have a specialty change or something? But you know what? Hey, I'm glad that they're still looking at 3 stars. All right, Lucy reduces Paper Whirlwind to 3 turns, attacks all enemies. Wait, hold on. Does it say his skills? Did I say his skills? Did it say his skills? I know there was one thing, like a huge mistype on here somewhere. Somebody posted it up early in the morning. I saw it. The notes say his skills. Have a shorter cooldown. Does it? Did they change? Where? Did they change it? I'm trying to find out where it's at. Anyways, I will literally sit here and just read this whole thing at the very end of the text after the chart. Oh, and his skills. Oh, okay, right here, literally at the end. Smilegate. You're so bad with patch notes, dude. They're real bad. Typos all over the place all the time. Dude. SMH. Anyways, cooldown on Paper Whirlwind. Attacks all enemies with a 100% chance to restrict and decrease speed for 2 turns. It's going to be 3 turns now. Paper Barrier is going to recover health. And amount recovered is going to increase. Lucy will be improved to be more competent in PvE modes such as Katie's Hunt. The skill Paper Whirlwind will decrease the Paper Barrier. Will decrease while Paper Barrier becomes able to recover allies' health. Okay, sweet. They fixed Designer Library. That's the one that I was thinking about. Hold on. Designer Librarian. Yeah, Designer Lilibet. Hold on. Yeah, it looks like they did. All right, so Lucy's going to be better for C13 and B13. If you'll get her in the Valentine's Day rerun if you don't have her. Adin, they're going to change it so weakness shared cannot be dispelled. Adin's special effect weakness shared will be undispellable. This hero will be able to keep on taking advantage of the effect while fighting against elite or boss monsters capable of dispelling buffs. Okay, so they're just going to change that. Easy thing. Okay, Cradle of Life. They're going to get rid of poison, add in burn. Okay, sweet. 40% to 80% chance to inflict a random debuff for 2 turns after using a single attack on the caster's turn. I like that. I like to change to 2 turns because 1 turn just feels wasted, right? Like 1 turn, if you hit them, they go like right now. Gross. All right, but getting rid of poison, going into burn. Don't really like that. Poison, OP. Burn, not as OP. So yeah, but you gotta get rid of poison, because poison busted in Abyss and PvE. That's about it. But this does make it a little bit better, I guess, for PvP if you wanted to use it. Cradle of Life has not been favored much by players due to its low chance of activating its effects and the short effect duration. With these improvements, the skill effect will be activated when delivering a single attack on the caster's turn at an increased chance for 2 turns. We hope to see this artifact is more widely adopted by different warriors. I doubt it. I doubt it. Little Queen's Huge Crown. Now this is going to be pretty okay and interesting for potential PvP. This is going to be splitting the damage between single attacks and the barrier, right? So you're going to get up to 16% damage on just your base attacks, which is already pretty good. But if they've got a shield, you're going to get an extra of 8 to 16% if they've got a barrier. Now, Rifu has informed us that it does not work against undispellable barriers like Wyvern or White Expo. But it's still not bad. It's a good split. Yeah. They should have put single attack on caster's turn in green text, I think. Oh, for Cradle of Life? Yeah, they probably should have. Yeah. Yeah, it's any single attack, not basic skill. So I mean, it does help with, like, you know, Sigrid S2 potentially, but you're not going to be using that in Wyvern anyways. But still, I don't know. I don't think it's that amazing. But the artifact activated its effect only when the enemy was granted a barrier, narrowing down the circumstances where the player could take advantage of this artifact. The artifact will now take its effect when attacking with a single attack and when the enemy is granted a barrier separately, allowing the artifact to aid the caster more in more common situations. I think this is a good change to Little Queen's Huge Crown. It's a good DPS increase. Again, nothing crazy. Like a lot of these artifact changes, nothing insane, just good. El's Fist is going to keep its ability, but it's also just going to give you 10% increased attack. So that's good. It's simple. Most people didn't really use much of El's Fist, but I mean, attack and speed increased by 25% to 50%. What are you gonna get to 50%? Isn't it 25% of your life to get the max out of it? Chat. I think it starts at like 75% and then goes down to 25%. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So there you go. You guys really hate Says. Yeah. Yeah, a little bit. I mean, Says can still Says bomb, right? I think this is okay. I think a lot of these changes are good. They're not overpowered. They're not dial it to 12. They're not anything ridiculous. I think that overall, they were good changes. And I think that they're fairly balanced. I think that Solitaria is probably the weaker one out of this. But I'm really actually excited to see what Chloe does when it comes to Wyvern 13. Actually, I would really like, well, Blackbane, that's because you watch Foe, and Foe uses Says Bomb all the time. But like, I want to take my straws out of Wyvern 13. I want to take my, and if I can replace straws with Chloe, I'll be happy with that. I mean, I'm sure I could now, but yeah. So I think overall good balance changes. They weren't insane, but they also addressed like a fair amount of characters. Now, one of the problems that I think that we see here with this, right, is that this is such a small subset of the 300 characters that we have, right? We should be getting this many characters every month. We should be getting this many characters every month. I think that having to wait multiple months for a handful of characters is, you know, to have just small tweaks is just too slow. There's way too many characters to balance and new characters coming out constantly. I think that if they could up it to this many characters and that many artifacts just tweaked every month, they would be in a lot better spot. They would be in a much, much better spot. Yeah. And then I think like every 6 months, just do a big, like you have small tweaks every month, a little bit bigger tweaks every 3 months, and then huge tweaks every 6 months. I think that should be the development cycle. And I think that would go a long way to actually fixing some of the balance. But we're coming up on almost an hour on this video. So again, if you guys aren't if you guys aren't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the notifications so that you actually know when I'm streaming. You can also join the Discord and get the stream notification thing. I stream quite a bit when I'm not, you know, bedridden from the Rona or whatever have you, or a really rough sneeze. I sneezed today while I was making dinner, and I got back pain because, you know, that's what happens when you're an adult. But that didn't stop me from streaming and bringing you these notes. I stream on both Twitch and YouTube, and more videos when I make them. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.